Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today, well, we're going to talk about the Prepper Library. Basically, the books that you need when the lights go out. The SHTF situation there. Basically, the idea is everybody uses YouTube and the internet as their, big resource for, go-to information. And
right.
YouTube is an amazing source, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to build something, you go to YouTube, you're, master mechanic, you're, whatever, and it works great. And we love YouTube. And, I learn a ton of stuff off YouTube. It's weird, I know like stuff on how to plant, how to grow, how to, build something, how to fix your car. It really is great.
I always make a point too when we're talking about everyday carry is carrying your smartphone. Just because you can Google, you can YouTube anything you want to do, and figure it out immediately.
Right. But actually having hard paper, things can be a big asset if the lights went out. And also, I hate to say it, a lot of people, and this isn't the best way to do things, but a lot of people, their survival plan is, well, I have that book. I'll look at it when I have all that free time because I won't have to go to work. So I'll have time to read the manual. The idea is you want to peruse that stuff beforehand. You want to have an understanding of, how things are going to be before, in case there's materials you need, supplies you need, things to, make things go a little easier. Where you're like, oh, step one is go buy a bunch of canning lids that are different than the ones that you have, or whatever. You need an axe. You need oil for your chainsaw. These things are important to figure out beforehand. However, having a book and the resource for things that you might not know were going to come up, and also having the books to kind of plan out your life, like right now, like, hey, if I'm building a wall out of stone and there's an excellent resource out there about building stone walls, it'd be awesome if I had that book right now.
Right.
So, all right. Where do you want to begin here?
Well, let's start with homesteading.
Okay.
We've got a couple of different sections here. We'll go through them each. Homesteading, I think, is really one of the most important sections in this. You know what I mean? It covers a lot of the stuff when it comes to basically setting up an area, your area, that'll help provide the most amount of food and the most amount of resources for you. Right. So when it gets into that stuff, a big asset is going to be being able to grow your own food, get your own water, that sort of stuff. So I think homesteading is a good way to start the podcast.
Right. No, I think that's an excellent place to start. So my go-to is The Self-Sufficient Life and How to Live It by John Seymour.
Right.
So this book is pretty sweet. It's got like how-to instructions for just about everything, making cheese, butchering animals, when I first butchered a chicken, it was this book laid out on the back of the pickup truck. Well, on the tailgate, cutting it open, there's like blood stains all over the page to this day. But going through, and he talks about fences, how to set up your yard, where to place things. I got to say that honestly, if I had only one book for prepping, that would be it, is The Self-Sufficient Life. It takes you through all the steps and is just an excellent resource for, how-tos. Do you have anything on that or any other?
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing that I would like to point out is that butchering that you just mentioned. That's not something you're going to find on YouTube. For some reason, it seems like they scrub anything that's got any kind of blood, whether it's human blood or not. Go on YouTube and try and find a video on butchering a deer. It's hard to do. So any kind of butchering, that would be something that even when the power's on and nothing's going on, it would be good to have a book on just how to butcher animals. And, you do it a few times and you kind of get the hang of it, but really it takes
not something you do. Right. Then, yeah. So the complete book of butchering, smoking, curing, and sausage making, how to harvest your livestock and wild game. And that one is by, I don't know who wrote it. It just says Voyager Press.
Okay.
But that one is a excellent resource on, on butchering. That one actually takes you through like how to build smokehouses, and plus it also had the kind of unusual game, like doing rabbits and squirrels, and I guess they have raccoons and, all the little things that may not be in your standard go-to, books.
Not in your normal wheelhouse. Yep. All right. Let's talk about self-defense. That's always a fun one. Now my favorite self-defense book, when it comes down to it, is the old classic, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do.
Yes.
Which is written by Bruce Lee. Now, you might think that a book is not a great resource for learning how to do hand-to-hand combat. And I would generally say, yeah, that's right. But when you read through the book, he really has a lot of small pointers that you wouldn't even think of. Just basics, how to throw a punch, how to throw a kick. Those types of things, you can go to a gym and learn and practice, and over time you'll pick up those little tips. But if you can have just those little tips ahead of time, it'll help you out when you're practicing in your basement on a heavy bag or something. You don't have time to go to the MMA gym. You don't have time to go to the boxing gym. You got to teach yourself. And that book really has a lot of good points to it.
Right. I mean, obviously hands-on is the best, but you do what you got to do. And like you said, time. I know that I actually looked into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place here, and the only morning classes they had were beginners. And I'm like, that's great. But after the first 3 months or whatever, then where do we go? And then they're kind of limited. Anyway, my other go-to, and I do have Tao of Jeet Kune Do, the next go-to is Kill or Get Killed by Rex Applegate. And that one is kind of more like alternative measures of fighting. Like it's a little less on the rules, but I got to say Bruce Lee's pretty less on the rules also. He definitely isn't confined, but that has no problem. This one, jabbing your thumb in somebody's eye or, stabbing a knife in somebody's temple. You do what you got to do, right? You got to.
That's right.
Take it through.
There are also a lot of great books on knife fighting. I wouldn't give you any specific examples just because there's so many books, and I wouldn't know which one is the best one to go for. But there are a lot on knife fighting, and to me that's one of my my favorite practices. I don't think I'm ever going to get into a knife fight, and I never plan on it, but you never know what's going to happen. Right. I always have a knife, so got to be ready.
Right. Back to kind of round off homesteading. I know we moved into fighting there a little bit, but Secret Garden of Survival by Rick Austin.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That one's another great selection there.
Right. That's, that would be a great book if you're living in like the suburbs and you've got a lot of neighbors and stuff. Basically, it's how to set up your yard to grow food without being real obvious. You know what I mean?
A lot of it looks
without a big
like bushes and right. Yeah, it's not your traditional rows and normal gardening. And actually, to be honest, it is more traditional. It's less American style gardening. How about that?
Yeah,
maybe Native American style gardening. It is kind of a commitment, though, that book. A lot of the stuff is kind of involved, and you're going to put some real effort into setting it up. It's one of those kind of set it and forget it, but the set it is like, 4 or 5 months of outside every day setting up your yard to be the right way, But
right.
Hey, if you want free food for the rest of your life, that's kind of a good trade-off. That's not that bad. Where are we heading next?
All right, let's go to medical.
Okay.
Yeah. So a couple of books from there is, one of the things that you might want to look into when it comes to survival medicine, that sort of stuff, is natural remedies. Yeah. You know what I mean? You might not have access to the drugstore, to the pharmacy. Survival Medicine Handbook and the Prepper's Medical Handbook, both are pretty good for that. When it comes to foraging, there you go, the Survival Medicine Handbook. So that's really a great book when it comes to having to forage your own stuff, or even growing your own stuff. Right. Right. I know I grow a lot of medicinal plants around the yard. And, some of them, be honest with you, natural medicine, if a natural medicine actually works, it's just called medicine. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Most of the time that those natural remedies are, they kind of help out, but they're not really, they're not as good as Valium and Prozac,
Oh,
garlic is great, but it's not the same as antibiotics from
you're killing
from the drugstore.
So the big thing with the Survival Medicine Handbook is it is written by a doctor and his wife. His wife's a nurse practitioner. It's Joseph Alton and his wife Amy. But they talk about all the stuff that is accessible to you that you can buy over the counter, and just get. Or where to get it, or where to get an alternative to what you might get from a doctor. And he basically does mention a lot of the household remedies. However, once again, it is one of the books that you want to check out before things get bad.
Right.
Because he does recommend a lot of things that you could buy and have on hand that would be great substitutes, So if you have access to Walmart now, you can kind of plan ahead. And he actually outlines things that you might want to get to make your life a little bit easier as far as home medical care.
Right.
If you are maybe a nurse, something like that, or a nurse, or you have maybe a nurse in your mutual assistance group or prepper, stuff like that, a book you want to talk them into, or you might want to get if you want to go there, is Emergency War Surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of crazy. They kind of talk about all your field applications and things you could do that you can improvise with what's on hand. It's a big thing like that, where you can actually, pull things off, like that. So those are my two go-to. To be honest, even the Boy Scout handbook has a great first aid section, that covers all your basics.
Yeah. And also, I would recommend, I know we're talking about books, but I would recommend keeping up with your first aid and CPR classes. They're definitely helpful.
Yeah, it's a Boy Scout manual from the day.
Mm-hmm. From back in the day.
Back in the day.
Another one that's pretty good is a medical toxicology of natural substances. It's more of a reference book, and it's generally for doctors and nurses, but it's definitely worth having around, having on hand. You got anything else for the medical library here?
First aid. I try and keep it simple.
All right. Let's talk about survival. Survival books. Some of my favorites, and I know Chuck's got a couple of different ones than I do, but I think we've got a few of the same ones. The SAS Survival Handbook, by John Wiseman. That one is definitely an interesting book to flip through, and it's an interesting book to read.
It's kind of like an adult version of the Boy Scout Handbook,
right?
If you will. It's kind of the Boy Scout Handbook with added military applications.
Right.
There are a lot of, boat building, kind of shelter building, fire starting, all that stuff that you get out of the Boy Scout Handbook is in there. But then it takes it into some more crazy things that get a little more, on top. So John Lofty Wiseman, something. SAS Handbook. Now I do have another, the SAS Urban Handbook. This one's a little hokier, and I don't know but he does talk about kind of surviving in the city kind of thing. And, some little, again, kind of, I don't know, different ways of thinking in the city and dealing with people. How about that?
Right. All right. How about the official U.S. Army guide? That one is a pretty handy book, and I have that one, and I go through it every once in a while. But the truth is that one sits on the shelf a little bit more than some of the other ones. But there's quite a few of these survival books that are really great. But ultimately, I would recommend that you get out in the woods. If you plan on being in the woods in the future, I recommend getting out in the woods and, figuring some of this stuff out with hands-on practice.
Yeah.
Starting a fire with a
bow drill
or something like that. Yeah, it's a real nightmare if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You find some soggy wood that has been rained on for the past 6 months and try and start a fire with it. Good luck, man. You really gotta know what you're doing and be able to find the right stuff to get started with that sort of thing. Yeah. And I always recommend that you carry a couple of cigarette lighters in your pack.
Right.
It's not an easy thing to do, is starting a fire from scratch.
No, and that's it. A lighter makes it easy. You don't have to, worry about finding the right dry stuff, super dry. Still need dry, but not,
right.
Not over the top. All right, what's the next category? Dude, I have 50 books on my right here, so I'm ready for anything.
Ready to go. How about bushcraft? Bushcraft 101. Dave Canterbury. That's a great book. A great thing to have. Great thing. Look at Chuck is right on.
Kevin mentioned
he's got it in his
I got
pocket.
it. This has all your basics. It covers knots. It covers, navigation. It covers tree identification. Covers trapping and rope cordage. Containers for cooking. Shelter, combustion, setting up camp, tools, how to set up your pack. So they kind of go through it all there.
And the 101 is a valid point, because a lot of that stuff is basic things. But the basic stuff is, we're missing a lot of basic stuff just in our regular use.
Yeah.
Now Chuck's got the advanced
bushcraft.
That's a little bit deeper in, right? It goes a little bit further.
It goes there. You're kind of making some custom tools, making your bowls and things like that, setting time with the sun and, things like that. It gets a little deeper.
Right. How about shelters, shacks, and shanties?
Ooh,
do you have that one? I don't think
don't
you'd have that one.
that.
David Beard.
That's not me.
Yeah, it's basically a survival shelter building. It's got a lot of good graphics. You know, I should point this out though. When you're looking for books on a lot of these things, you want something with color photographs.
Yeah.
Especially when we get into foraging, we're going to be talking about that. You don't want to get a cheap black and white book. You want to be able to find something that that's going to be thorough with the illustrations.
And somebody at my level, like I need pictures, right? You know, the words, they're hard. If I could just have a lot of pictures, that makes everything better.
Right. Nobody wants to read a book that doesn't have any pictures in it. That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Bunch of words.
Words
Crazy.
are hard.
How about the Outdoor Survival Handbook? That's one I picked up off the internet. So I don't even know if it's a very common book, but
like a mainstream.
Yeah, but I found it pretty handy and pretty interesting. You want to move into foraging?
I like.
Or do you got anything else on bushcraft?
Foraging works.
All right. So the first one on the list is Nature's Garden, a guide to identifying, harvesting, and preparing edible wild plants. That one is it's good because it like I said, it does have a lot of illustrations in it. When it comes to identifying plants, there's a lot of plants that look similar to one another. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you can be poisoning yourself. Same thing with, when we talk about foraging, you really need to find books that are specific to your area. You know what I mean?
Right.
Southwest and Northeast, it's completely different set of things that you're going to be looking for. Right. So, when it comes to foraging mushrooms, plants, that, anything, you want to find something specific to your area. When it comes to mushrooms, turns out you can eat any mushroom you find, anyone.
You can, huh?
Yeah. Some of them will make you poop until you die.
Well, yeah, there's that.
But yeah.
Or hallucinate or.
Yeah. And and this is something a lot of people don't know. There's a lot of hallucinogenic mushrooms out there that will make you trip. It's not just the psilocybin mushrooms. A lot of them will, but also you'll poop yourself to death while you're hallucinating. So
there's that.
Just something to keep in mind.
Could be a good
when it comes to mushrooms, what you want to do is you want to mash it up and rub it on your skin, right?
Okay.
Wait 8 hours, then rub it on your lips, right? And if it starts tingling, don't eat.
That's a no-go.
If it doesn't start tingling, just take a little bite and then wait another 8 hours. It can take you weeks before you can actually eat these mushrooms.
Or you could just learn how to identify plants.
Right.
Or you can proper book or training, right?
You can do a little bit of work. And I would recommend, even if you have a book when it comes to mushrooms, even if you have a book, find somebody that knows what they're doing to go out with you.
I think there are a couple of go-to staples that are safe, but I'm not the authority to tell you about it. So, but there are local foraging classes, which would be awesome. I know I always liked Steve Brill. There's Wild Man Steve Brill in New York City. He has a big foraging tour, and they actually take you through Central Park, and he makes a salad out of stuff they find there. But again, foraging is kind of a seasonal thing usually. Very limited when things aren't green and blooming and whatever. So I also have Petersen's Field Guide. Edible Wild Plants, Eastern Central North America. That actually has a lot of pretty detailed drawings, but then it has a section of about 30 pages with, color photos. Was pretty good. I have a simpler one called Backyard Foraging by Ellen Zachos. I don't know. That one had a lot of color pictures, but I don't know. It was kind of more your traditional stuff, like kind of the stuff that I already knew I could eat. You're not breaking out new, exotics to me. But I gotta say, the staples are really, where you want to be. You know, the wife just found a big mulberry tree in the backyard, and we were all excited about that. She made some kind of pie or something, and it's hard to catch it because you have like 2 days before the birds go in, and you know.
Right.
And get
it. No, I've got a whole big batch of raspberries and blackberries in the backyard, and I get like 6 berries out of the 18 bushes that are back there. Next to
my barn, I have what I believe to be a raspberry plant, and so I kind of let it like propagate. And now I either have a raspberry field or a poison ivy field.
Or all poison ivy, yeah.
I don't really know. I don't really know what I made back there, but I haven't seen any berries. I just know that I let all this stuff grow, and I'm really screwed now.
Yeah, that sounds like poison ivy, doesn't it?
Well, it's a delicate dance.
Yeah, those raspberry bushes and that poison ivy, man, it looks right. Looks
the wrong
exactly
time of
the
year,
same.
It's
almost.
like, it's the same thing. I don't know.
All right. Edible Wild Plants, a North American field guide to over 200 natural foods. That's a good one. It's thorough. It's a thick book. You know, there's a lot in there, a lot of info. But again, you want to find things that are specific to your area when it comes to foraging.
Yeah.
You need to go to your local bookstore or go online and find books that are for your area. You know, if you're in Denmark, listen to this podcast, don't get the North American
guide. No
guide. Right. So, you know, it's really, like I said, it's really specific to your area, and you want to find the right books for the right area.
Yeah. I will point out with the raspberries though, I took a picture with my phone with the little Google app, and it said raspberries or poison ivy.
So they even
like, that's good.
The app couldn't help you out.
Like, damn it.
Yeah.
It's how it goes sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Dude, it's the world I live in, you know? It's one of those.
Yeah. All right. You get anything else as far as books go?
Oh, I have a stack. So
all right, well, let's go through the rest of them that you got there.
These are kind of less specific. You know, I mean, they're less in a category. Beekeeping, the complete step-by-step book of beekeeping. This thing, I got it, David Cramp. Now, I've never done beekeeping, so how can I say that it's the perfect book? But I got to say, they have step-by-step pictures of like every part of the process you could imagine. So I expect good things. It looks awesome. I've never seen something so detailed. There are very few books that get me excited where I'm like, yeah, I could do this, you know? And I feel like that might be one of them. I have another one.
Yeah. Now, actually, I listened to a couple of podcasts on beekeeping.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, man. They are the most boring podcasts I've ever listened to.
Not like the Survival and Basic Badass podcast.
No, it's just, you know,
I want to like and subscribe right now.
They are information.
So you don't miss an episode, right?
That's right. That's right. They are full of information. It's just the people that do podcasts on beekeeping, they speak so softly.
Like they're on NPR.
Like very calm. Yeah. Yes, it's like NPR. Yeah, exactly. Every one of those podcasts is.
All right. So there's a million books on log cabins and cabin building. And I got to say, I love, you know, looking at the different log cabins and how they do stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. So I have one, though, that I really kind of go back to over and over again called Cabins. Just says Cabins across the top, a guide to building your own nature retreat by David and Jeanie Stiles. And this one, they're pretty awesome. But anyway, it's got like all the step-by-step, how to notch logs, how to, you know, make your own shingles, how to split logs, how to make doors out of logs, how to do, you know, different stuff. They take you through, you know, and the pegs and, you know, post and beam stuff and how to do it. So excellent resource for that if that's something you're into.
I've got a bit of a fetish with watching watching videos on people building log
hey,
cabins.
you see these people
it is a
in
thing.
I just watched one. This girl, I assume it's like Thailand or something, just based on the foliage and everything around her, And man, 3-year off grid, building an off grid, shelter or something. Now she has all these like planed boards that she's just putting in place. And I'm like, well, we didn't see any tree cutting or planing or
right.
I don't understand it really. But I have one, The Backyard Blacksmith, Traditional Techniques for the Modern Smith by Lorelai Sims. Now, my wife says it's that girls can write books on blacksmithing.
What?
And I got to say, though, dude, it's freaking, she is on top of it. It really does have like all the steps and pictures. Maybe it takes the novice dumb guy like me and then brings it up to, to better levels. So that might be something to go to. Now, I think we're moving into my crazy collection.
All right.
And crazy is always good. So we got The Black Book of Revenge by John Jackson.
I remember reading some of that book, and it was kind of fucked up. Yeah, there's a lot of fucked up shit in there.
Now I think a lot of these are
one part of that book. Wasn't one part of that book like catching a bunch of snakes and putting it in somebody's house?
Oh yeah, no, he's like, oh yeah, I remember this one time, or maybe that's the Black Book of Booby Traps. I remember this one time that we take, pit vipers in Afghanistan or something, and we tie them by the tail and hang it from the roof, and people walk into the dark barn, and the snake's right there in their face, and bites them in the face. And he's like, one time it bit me in the face. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. The Black Book of Booby Traps by Lyle Whitney. That one, those two kind of came together at the same time there. The Clandestine Operations Manual for Central America is definitely a nice go-to.
Is that a CIA?
That is a CIA pamphlet. And it kind of makes you understand what kind of shadiness our government's really willing to do.
Yeah, that one was a bit fucked up because it talks about overthrowing governments.
Oh yeah,
and shit like that.
And they're like, here's how you rile up the population, and then kind of slip out and let them do the dirty work, so you don't get spend your life in jail.
Right. I have get everybody else all riled up and do the hard stuff, and you just get things started.
Right.
Get things in motion.
I have a U.S. Navy and Marine Corps SEER manual, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape Handbook. I gotta say, I had higher expectations for that one. Not as great. Eddie the Iron's Best New Lockpicking Design.
Yeah, that's something that does come up every once in a while. I mean, also bolt cutters are a great tool when it comes to picking locks.
Right. And then we have my favorite and the go-to for all the old school from like the 80s. Like if you grew up with like the Anarchist Cookbook, things like that, you guys probably remember Ragnar Benson. And Ragnar Benson is the man, and just any of his books, sometimes they're a little less detailed, but just it makes you think outside the box. So we have Man Trapping, and that one definitely was a great go-to.
Right.
I have Ragnar's 10 Best Traps. That's for like fish and animals, and I got to say is great. Ragnar's Guide to the Underground Economy. You never know.
You never know.
But again, it's the underground economy in 1980. So that's a little something. Then you have the Ragnar's Action Encyclopedia of Practical Knowledge Improving Techniques. And there's both a 1 and 2 on that. So
look at that.
You don't want, to miss the whole collection. That has how to take out helicopters, how to avoid surveillance, how to recognize FBI agents over cops and how deep cover people are and, all kinds of crazy stuff.
If you ever are really getting into like selling or smuggling drugs, Those are some books to go for.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Now I have Tracking Humans by David Diaz. Now, Tracking Humans, this guy's committed. All right. And maybe he should be committed, but he talks about, like, he's all in. Like, he talks about you should be pooping in your yard and then go out and check it every day so you know what, it's like if
how human shit
after a
ages.
day, human poop after 2 days, human poop after a week, smell it.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm...
But then,
I don't know that I'm at that into it.
He goes even further, like, change up your diet. Just eat off the trail for a couple days and then see what your poop looks like. What do you got inside there? He goes deep. He goes really deep.
I had a friend of mine that had to go to the doctor and give a stool sample.
Yeah.
He ate nothing but peanuts and corn for 3 days. Like, that is commitment to a practical joke. You know what I mean? You're risking your own health. I mean, what are they going to identify out of that stool sample you give them? You know what I mean? It's all
corn
fucking chewed up peanuts and
corn and nuts.
Yeah.
I have The Combat Tracking Guide by John Hurth. That's another excellent go-to. Then we have some crazy Army manuals. Well, first I have 2-component high explosive mixtures. Turns out that's how explosions happen, is when you put two things that react with together.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
Guerrilla warfare and special warfare operations. There's a million. These are always like your gun show pickups, that kind of thing. Booby traps from the U.S. Army. These are all Department of Defense manuals. Unconventional warfare devices and techniques. That one's a great one. If you are interested in those, now this may get you on a list, so whatever. But I have a giant zip file that is basically tons of Army and Navy manuals. And I have it on my Google Drive, so I can put a link to the Google Drive where any of you can download it, and I'll put it in the show comments and on the on the YouTube channel, so you guys have access to that. Again, you might end up on some kind of list, but you're already listening to this podcast, so you're committed. You're already in. Another one of my favorites, U.S. Army Sniper Training Manual. They talk about ammo. They talk about, like blending in where, people have the right camouflage, but they don't, match the horizon line and things like that. They go into detail on that, on ranging, stuff like that. A lot of the more old school techniques. Bobby Ackart has a book on EMP preparedness and kind of all the government's findings on that. That's kind of a go-to. How to ride, shoot straight, and speak the truth. I can never line up things with the I'm trying to show them. I don't know.
Jeff Cooper, that sounds like a Roy Rogers book.
Dude, I got to say, as far as learning to be a man or whatever, that book definitely has it covered. And then classic military strategy. There is Colonel Dave Grossman on combat. Again, I can't line it up. On combat, and he has on killing.
Yeah, that was kind of a messed up book. Yeah, that was wild stuff. That's worth reading if
it just helps you understand the kind of psychology of it.
Right.
But I got to say, the world has changed now that there's video games and, the crazy world we live in, and people are more exposed to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And last one in my collection that at least I was willing to carry downstairs, I was unloading the library for a half hour, and dude, there was a ton more books. These are the ones that made the cut. Absolute Anarchy by Johnny Jack. So that's another, great go-to. that has a lot of the setting up a mutual assistance group and working together and building a community, training up your kind of prepper people. I believe Darren mentioned that he had interviewed and talked with Johnny Jackson, Darren Taylor from Mayhem Country Living. And so there's a lot of good stuff there. But hey, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a list of all these books in the show notes. Like I said, I did actually have a link for my Google Drive where you can check out those PDFs. That might be another great resource for you. I will try and put together a list of fiction books that I've been into that are kind of useful for it. I'm not sure if we're going to end up doing a separate show on fiction books at some point, because there's a lot of great stuff out there that you can actually learn a lot from and, is very enjoyable. But, that's up to you, and we'll see what we can put out there.
All right. Before we wrap up, David Grush came out the other day. About aliens. So big reveal lately.
Yes.
Actually, move over, coffee. This is a job for beer. Aliens. We have them. The United States government has alien bodies. They have alien craft. They're I'm waiting to see some more info because this guy is just talking about he knows who does it and who's been doing it and what the program's called and all that sort of stuff. It's my tax money. I feel like I should get some of these aliens. You know what I mean? Just send me a finger or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Spread it out.
See what it tastes like, whatever.
Yeah, I want to try it out.
Right.
I don't understand. This is another one of those things that I have, another one of those problems I have with big government. You know what I mean? You're going to spend all this money, spread the wealth a little bit.
Right.
Give me an eyeball or something.
That only sounds right.
This is our money that we're spending on it. Share a little bit of the info.
Site. Yeah, or was it Vegas or was it California? This other sighting with the guys with the ones in the backyard.
Yeah, that was Vegas.
8 foot tall.
That one may be a fraud though.
Oh,
the jury's still out. There was some inconsistencies happening. So 8 foot aliens in their backyard. No video footage though.
I know that's a little odd in a modern world here.
Yeah, I want to see some aliens.
But we do see the stuff come out of the sky, though. What about that?
Right.
With the police?
Right. They say that was meteors.
It
was possible. Weird because there are 2 that came down at the exact same time at the exact same speed. Little suspicious. Same trajectory, all that sort of stuff. And then aliens showed up in the backyard. They have the video of the meteors or whatever they were. But no video of the aliens.
I think that, the body cam and like that, seeing the stuff out of the sky, I think that's legitimate. But here's what I wonder. If you're planning on doing a hoax and, there's 8 foot bodies in the backyard and this is for real and the whole thing, right? Would you be able to coordinate that?
What do you mean?
Like that stuff came out of the sky and then you call 911 right away. Like of the balls all of a sudden, like, you know what? Let's do that.
Let's do a big hoax. Yeah, I got a great idea.
Like I see planning a hoax and setting the whole thing up, but I'm not sure you could do because obviously people aren't afraid of calling 911 or whatever. And who's to say you weren't really scared? And who's to say you didn't see something? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you didn't. So you probably won't get in trouble. People are like swatting people all the time. Have you seen this?
They said the police. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. But they said the police showed up and they said it wasn't a hoax. But how do they know that? They didn't see them. The cops never said they saw aliens.
Well, I believed them.
The cops believed them. So I don't know if that says something about Vegas cops or if it says something about the actual event. Maybe something happened. So this guy though, is former military, former I don't think he was CIA. I don't remember where he was from, but he said that aliens have killed people. He said there are people that have actually been killed by these aliens. He said they've actually been in firefights with UAPs, and they've found wreckage of these crafts. Now, there have been people that have been saying this for a long time. He's not the first guy, right? But he's the first guy that says that he has names and
firsthand
people that
knowledge,
were in charge of these programs and people that are in charge of these programs.
Right.
And he said a lot of these things end up going to corporations to do research on them.
Yes.
And even though they're owned by the government, the government isn't in possession of them.
Oh, okay.
So they've got companies that are studying these things, private companies.
The whole DARPA industrial,
Right.
All right.
So
that's,
there might be more info coming out in the next month or two. I'm here for it, man.
Are we going to have to delve into a alien episode?
I think we got to do an alien episode.
Because we have done them, but I feel like things are evolving.
New info's out.
Yeah, there's new info.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Maybe I keep wondering about time travel. I feel like we could dig deep in that time travel.
You think that has something to do with this?
Well, no, I just think that there is people coming from the future, and maybe we could ask them about the aliens.
Okay, all right. So maybe they'll have. I bet we can find somebody that says they've traveled back in time, and we could have them on the podcast. They knew about it.
Yes, that is where.
I mean, there's probably somebody in my neighborhood that would say that and talk about it extensively.
Into it extensively. You got to get the interesting guy, though.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah. No, so make sure you guys like and subscribe the channel. Yeah, we're trying to grow the YouTube. Some of the comments are, saying that we are a little bit entertaining. We're trying, right? Kevin puts a lot of effort. If you knew the struggle that I went through trying to get Kevin's microphone worked out before this show, you would understand the sacrifices that we make to bring you quality audio and video. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, about 5 minutes before this podcast started, I was throwing things around the studio.
We were ready to end the podcast right there. I'm like, fuck it, it's done. We're not doing it anymore. There's no more podcast. I can't work with this. It could get a little hairy. So, I'm just saying there are sacrifices being made. So like and subscribe, and you're listening on the podcast, we'd love if you share it with other people, let people know, maybe spread it around with your military buddies or, whoever you think could be into this kind of thing, because we really appreciate it. We love doing it. We love having you guys here. You have shows, questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com. Otherwise, I would say stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.